What can we learn about the worship practices of the first Lutherans from a Reformation edict by a Calvinist leader? Find out in Will Whedon's column in the latest Issues Etc. journal. We'll send it to you for free. Just click the red journal subscription button at issuesetc.org and enter your email address. In the Wittenberg Trail feature, Pastor Michael Hughes writes about his journey from progressive Lutheranism to confessional Lutheranism. The Issues Etc. journal. Subscribe for free at issuesetc.org.
Lutheran Talk.
We have an ecumenical responsibility to hold forth the Scriptures and to bear witness to grace alone, faith alone, Christ alone.
Lutheran music. Listen anytime, anywhere with the Lutheran Public Radio mobile app. Download for iPhone, Android, and Kindle at issuesetc.org.
Pro-life incumbents have done very well since Dobbs. Not one pro-life incumbent has lost a statewide race.
Margaret Thatcher very famously said, socialism works great until you run out of other people's money. In the Islamic system, the system works great until you run out of the infidels' money.
I love this quotation from Luther. He says, "Spare me from a church in which there are no sinners." The essential character of being a Christian is to be a redeemed sinner.
If we are Christians and we suffer, is that so unbelievable that we should bear a splinter of Jesus' cross after he has gone through so much as a perfect one?
Hospice nurses driving around from patient to patient love listening to Issues Etc.
The birth rate for children diagnosed with Down syndrome are falling worldwide, but it's not because we found some sort of medical solution. It's because of abortion. There are even some Nordic countries that are claiming to have eliminated Down syndrome because no Down syndrome children are allowed to survive to birth. Welcome back to Issues Etc. I'm Todd Wilkin. Thanks for tuning us in live on this Tuesday afternoon, June the 30th. We're going to be talking about abortion and children with Down syndrome. Jenna Wietfeldt will be our guest. Then we'll begin a two-part series on China's organ harvesting industry with Jenna Wietfeldt. Jenna Wietfeldt is a pastor's wife and a married mother of 7 children in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Jenna, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us about Jesse and Ashley Ridgway's recent social media announcement.
Yeah, so I actually did not know who Jesse Ridgway was before I started seeing all of these things about he and his wife's decision to abort their unborn baby who was found to have Down syndrome. He is a popular YouTube content creator who has a very large following. I think I saw it was 4 million followers on there. So they had found out through some genetic testing that their baby was suspected to have Down syndrome. So they did some further tests to confirm that and posted publicly about struggling with the decision of what to do with that information. And then they wrote a very long post about that they had made what they called a very difficult decision to terminate the pregnancy due to the Down syndrome. And there have been several follow-up posts in the recent weeks about further defending that decision, that it was the right decision for their family. But I think also in that, there was a lot of misinformation about Down syndrome and what that sort of a life looks like for someone. So I had a lot of thoughts about that.
Why did you have such a strong reaction to this announcement?
So I think from a personal perspective, just being the mother of a child who has Down syndrome, so our little 4-year-old Aaron has Down syndrome, hurts my heart as a mom to think that anybody would think that his life is not worth bringing into this world. As a human, as a Christian, as a pro-life, unapologetic advocate, I believe abortion for any reason is wrong, so it hurt me in those ways. But I think also just objectively with the information that he was putting out there about Down syndrome, a lot of it, frankly, was just false. And the Down syndrome community has worked so hard to correct misconceptions and to kind of overcome this ableism idea of discrimination against people with disabilities. There's been so much work in recent years to undo a lot of that. And so to have someone with a following of 4 million people come out and say, yeah, we don't want this baby, it has Down syndrome, it really does a lot of damage to that community and the work that has been poured into that.
What is Down syndrome?
So most people have 46 chromosomes. So you get 23 from your mom, 23 from your dad. And Down syndrome happens when there is an extra copy of a chromosome on chromosome 21. So what this can cause is, different physical traits, different developmental delays, different characteristics that are often associated with Down syndrome. Just like any other human being, everybody with Down syndrome is different. So the level that a person maybe is hindered by Down syndrome could be very mild. It could be more severe. The certain characteristics one person may possess and the next person doesn't. So it just kind of depends from person to person.
How often are unborn children with Down syndrome aborted?
So this was one of the things that Mr. Ridgway did kind of misrepresent in his information. He said up to 90% of babies with Down syndrome are aborted. That is not true. And the data around it is a little bit confusing, but so 74% of parents who receive that prenatal diagnosis, so who have gone through that testing, whether it's the chorionic villus sampling, where it takes a piece of the placenta, or the amniocentesis, where it tests the fluid in the uterus, when those tests have detected Down syndrome, it's 74% of those parents often opt to abort. This is not 74% of all babies with Down syndrome. So it's actually about 37% of all babies conceived in the United States who have Down syndrome that ultimately end up being aborted. Now, this is actually lower than certain countries. Their rates are very high. Iceland actually claims they've almost eradicated Down syndrome because they abort basically every baby that is found to have Down syndrome. They have a lot of prenatal testing, and they only have a few babies every year who are born with Down syndrome. And there's other countries like Denmark and the United Kingdom are really 90% and higher as well. Just kind of heartbreaking.
Tell us about the birth of your child diagnosed with Down syndrome.
Yeah. So in February 2021, we found out we were pregnant. And then March 2021, we found out we were having twins. So Aaron is actually a twin to Micah, and they are our second set of twins. So this was a pretty exciting time for us. We had 5 little girls at home, and so we were so excited, looking forward to the birth of these twin boys. I went in for a C-section with them at 38 weeks. We were anticipating they were going to be really, really healthy. And after they were born, Aaron's brother Micah actually had to go to the NICU for a little bit because of some oxygen issues. But Aaron appeared to be just fine. So we had him in our hospital room with us. And, we were just loving him and falling in love with him. And just in that new baby kind of post-birth high, we were just so excited to have these boys earthside, and we just couldn't wait for Micah to get out of the NICU so they could be together. And it was probably about 24 hours after they had been born that my husband Matt looked at me and he said, I feel kind of bad because when they were first born, I thought Aaron looked like he had Down syndrome. And I looked at him and I said, well, that's kind of funny because I thought the same thing. And we both kind of were of the mindset like, well, surely someone would have told us if he had Down syndrome. Like, we wouldn't be the ones discovering that. But the next time the doctor kind of came in and did his rounds, we just mentioned, hey, we both have this thought, this concern, and could you look into that? And he at first was kind of like, I don't know. I don't really see it. But then as he sort of did some more tests and stuff, he did see some of the markers of Down syndrome. So they actually did find some things that needed to be addressed. And he spent about 2 weeks then in the NICU just getting oxygen levels up and such. So a little bit of a surprising start. Down syndrome was not on our radar at all. And I have said so many times what a gift of the Lord it was that I did not know that my baby was going to have Down syndrome. He was born and I completely fell in love with him. He was just my boy, and he is still my boy. I adore him. So it was definitely a gift that his life kind of started like it did, and that we were just able to have that special time with him and just fall in love with him as a baby without any kind of diagnosis hanging over that.
Jenna Wietfeldt is our guest. We're talking about Down syndrome children and abortion. We'll discuss the potential challenges in raising a child with Down syndrome next. What can we learn about the worship practices of the first Lutherans from a Reformation edict by a Calvinist leader? Find out in Will Whedon's column in the latest Issues Etc. journal. We'll send it to you for free. Just click the red journal subscription button at issuesetc.org and enter your email address. In the Wittenberg Trail feature, Pastor Michael Hughes writes about his journey from progressive Lutheranism to confessional Lutheranism. The Issues Etc. journal. Subscribe for free at issuesetc.org.
At the heart of Lutherans for Life is good news. Good news that brings hope to a culture so focused on death. Lutherans for Life equips Lutherans and their neighbors to be gospel-motivated voices for life. Lutherans for Life believes God gives the gift of life to all people, from the moment of conception until natural death. Learn more about how you and your congregation can help bring hope and healing to all the life issues through a wide variety of resources and caring activities at lutheransforlife.org.
Historic St. Paul Lutheran Church in the heart of Austin, Texas, is glad to support the work of Issues Etc. I'm Pastor Brian Wolfmueller, pastor of St. Paul, and I'm glad we're part of this effort. Issues Etc. for decades has been the premier voice of Lutheran doctrine and biblical teaching in all of the world, and we're glad to be a little part of making sure that the work continues. If you're ever in Austin, stop by and visit us. All the information is on the website, stpaulaustin.org. That's stpaulaustin.org.
St. Paul appealed to the Corinthians that all of you agree and that there be no divisions among you, but that you be united in the same mind and in the same judgment. Unity and variety, united in mind and judgment, these all can be thorny topics among us, as they have been for Christians since the Church's earliest days. The June-July issue of the Lutheran Witness takes up these very topics. Pick up your copy at cph.org/witness or visit witness.lcms.org to learn more. The Lutheran Witness, helping you interpret the world from a Lutheran perspective.
Your lifeline to the Lutheran worldview. You're listening to Issues Etc.
Whoever desires to be a preacher desires a good thing.
Dr. Cameron McKenzie, professor of historical theology at Concordia Theological Seminary, Fort Wayne, Indiana.
It's a very good thing. It's a very wonderful thing to be called to apply God's word to the lives of God's people. There's nothing more important and really more rewarding than to bring a child into the kingdom of God through infant baptism, and then at the other end of life to see a child of God pass from this life and into heaven, and to be an instrument that God uses to do those things and others like them. It's just an amazing and wonderful privilege.
For information about studying for the vocation of pastor, visit ctsfw.edu, Concordia Theological Seminary, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Welcome back to Issues Etc. I'm Todd Wilkin. We're talking about children with Down syndrome and abortion. Jenna Wietfeldt is our guest. The Lutheran Witness magazine interprets the world from a Lutheran perspective. You can receive an annual digital and print subscription for less than $25. Subscribe online at witness.lcms.org or by calling Concordia Publishing House 1-800-325-3040. Jenna, what are some of the potential challenges in raising a child with Down syndrome?
So this is one of the things, I think Mr. Ridgway gets it kind of right. He accurately says 50% of babies will have heart defects. They'll have hearing challenges, vision problems. Yes, this is true. But what he doesn't mention is that after the most common type of heart surgery for a baby with Down syndrome, which is sometimes they can be born with a hole in their heart, the survival rate is 97%, and often that's done in the first year. Things like vision problems. Kids get glasses all the time. Kids get hearing tubes all the time. He cites some potential problems as developmental disabilities, learning disabilities, delayed physical development. Yes, all of these things are true. These are potential problems with Down syndrome. But that doesn't make a child's life not have value. My typical developing children, my other 6 children, they have some of these issues. I have a child with ADHD. I have a child who struggles with dyslexia. These aren't easy things to navigate. These aren't things that have quick answers. These are things that can be really hard and really difficult as a parent to figure out how to navigate best for your child. And even if at the end of the day, we never figure out how to navigate these things with Aaron, he's still just a loved and valued member of our family. So yes, there are absolutely potential struggles, but they do not outweigh the joys of having him as our child.
What are the unique joys of parenting a child with Down syndrome?
Oh my goodness, there are so many. I remember right after he was born in the hospital, my husband said he's going to teach all of us to slow down. And we have found that to be so true. He takes things slower. He enjoys things more. He loves unconditionally. Every morning when he wakes up, he greets his sisters like he hasn't seen them in weeks. He's so excited about the littlest things. He just brings a sense of joy to our family, which is just so contagious. People always say they wish their children could stay children longer. Mine is. I've got it. He's still in a lot of ways, he'll be 5 in October, but he is still in a lot of ways just my little toddler, and he just loves me, and he just wants to sit on my lap, and it's a joy to watch him grow and watch him hit these milestones and cheer for him and be that biggest cheerleader. I think overwhelmingly when you look at data from parents and siblings who have a person with Down syndrome in their family, they are happy. They are satisfied. Siblings feel more compassionate. Parents feel proud. They feel love. They are not embarrassed. They are not citing that they feel ashamed of their child. They're just proud. They don't regret the decision to carry this child into the world. And Aaron has brought so much joy and just a different, slower perspective to our family that we would have never had we not been blessed with him. So definitely, we love all of our children, of course, but he brings just something a little bit different than our other ones do.
What would you say to a couple who has just learned that their unborn child is tested positive for Down syndrome?
I think, first of all, I would say congratulations on your pregnancy, because first and foremost, it's a baby. They're having a baby, and that's exciting. That would be my first thing. I would also say different does not equal bad. There is a beautiful poem that someone shared with me right after Aaron was born. It's called Holland. The author is Emily Pearl Kingsley, and it's basically about how you could spend your whole life planning a trip to Italy. And you've saved the money and made all the plans, and you get on the plane, and suddenly you land in Holland instead of Italy. And if you spend your whole life pining for, well, I was supposed to go to Italy, it was supposed to look like this, you'll miss all the beauty that's right there in Holland. So I think that idea that this is different than what you thought it was going to be, but that doesn't have to mean that it's bad. And one of the things that I've always thought about in our life is the Lord created our child with Down syndrome. That wasn't a glitch. Aaron was given that extra chromosome for a reason. It has changed me. It's made me a better mom. It's made him like this delightful, unique little person. So yes, Down syndrome might present you with some challenges, but it's also going to change you and make you such a better person than you ever could have been without this child. It's a beautiful life. That doesn't mean it's an easy life all the time, but it's a beautiful life.
What do you want our listeners to know about your son, Aaron?
Oh, he's the best little guy. He lights up a room. He loves music. He loves to sing. He loves people. He's full of joy. He's just a gift. He's a gift to us. He's a gift to the people that know him. His therapists love him. I just can't say enough good things about this little guy. He makes me smile every day. And I wish that Mr. Ridgway could meet my son, because he's not a glitch. He's not a burden. A child that maybe has some extra challenges can be such a wonderful thing in the life of a family. I really couldn't love him more.
Jenna Wietfeldt is a pastor's wife and a married mother of 7 children in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Jenna, thanks.
Thank you.
Jan Ukelic joins us on the other side. He's senior editor of the Epoch Times and author of a new book, Killed to Order. We're going to talk about China's organ harvesting industry. What did Martin Luther mean when he wrote that Christians live in Christ through faith and in the neighbor through love? And what's the difference between self-improvement and self-transcendence? Find out in the Issues Etc. Book of the Month for June, Lift Your Eyes, How to Live Outside Yourself. Learn more and purchase Lift Your Eyes at issuesetc.org or by calling Concordia Publishing House 1-800-325-3040. Lift Your Eyes, How to Live Outside Yourself, the Issues Etc. Book of the Month for June.
The Lutheran Church Missouri Synod cares deeply for those who protect our nation. Are you or a loved one currently serving? Ministry to the Armed Forces would like to help. We provide devotional literature to encourage faith. Send your mailing address to lcmschaps@lcms.org or call us at 314-996-1337. Those in uniform are comforted with Psalm 28. The Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusts in Him, and He helps me.
Give your students a classical Christian education with Memoria Press. Their curriculum focuses on what is good, true, and beautiful. They offer an accessible, mastery-based approach to the liberal arts and the great books. Learn more at memoriapress.com. Save $5 when you enter the coupon code LPR26MP. Memoria Press. Saving Western civilization one student at a time. memoriapress.com.
I'm Dr. Russell Dawn, president of Concordia University Chicago, reminding you about the Prepared to Serve Church Professional Guarantee. Any new student in one of CUC's 6 churchwork programs will pay no more than $5,000 in annual tuition and required fees, guaranteed. Prepared to Serve is a donor-funded initiative. Support future churchwork students by becoming a funding partner at cuchicago.edu/preparedtoserve. Concordia University Chicago. With Christ at the center, we stand tall for the church.
Educating a new generation of Lutherans. You're listening to Issues Etc.
Thanks to the following congregations for standing with us by becoming an Issues Etc. congregational sponsor: St. Paul Lutheran, Parkersburg, West Virginia; Zion Lutheran, Pampa, Texas; Redeemer Lutheran, Gorham, Maine; Catalina Lutheran, Tucson, Arizona; Bethlehem Lutheran, Altamont, Illinois; St. John Lutheran, Algoma, Wisconsin; Trinity Lutheran, Fredericktown, Missouri; Emmanuel Lutheran, Rockwell City, Iowa; Our Redeemer Lutheran, Fayetteville, North Carolina; and St. Peter Lutheran, Indianapolis, Indiana. Find out how your confessional Lutheran church can support this worldwide outreach by including Issues Etc. in your mission or advertising budget. Just go to issuesetc.org, click Support Donate, and print a one-page flyer. When your congregation becomes an Issues Etc. sponsor, we'll publicize your church on the podcast, at our website, and in the Issues Etc. journal.